Everybody, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in again. Today we're back with the Bronco. We're going to be installing some rock lights. So in this video we're going to show you how to hook them up in the fender wells and wiring, how to hook it to the battery, how to hide stuff so it looks like it's done professionally. So stay tuned and see how she's done. So if you're watching this video, most of these things are relatively the same install wise anyway, but for this particular vehicle we're getting ours from Oneuplighting. This is an 8-piece set, so what that is you'll get 2 for each wheel well basically. And what you get in the box is in here is all your lighting. You'll see that when we take it out. You get a sticker, and we ordered 2 extensions. These are the extensions. If you're looking on their website and you're wondering what it is, it's just an extension for the length of the wire. They don't really say online how long those wires are, so I would rather have extra. These things are relatively cheap to throw in, so if you think you're not going to be long enough, especially if you have a long truck, or even more so if your truck has the long bed, just to make it obviously from the battery where everything plugs in, you'll have to reach all the way back to the rear wheels. So peace of mind, we ordered the extras just in case. Might not need them, but at least if we need them, we have them. And then now inside the box, you can see you get 9 little boxes. Inside are your lights. This is the actual light itself. You can see the wire is fairly short. I don't know if it would make it all the way from end to end, so it's a good thing we got the extension. Then inside each package you get 2 of these little rubber mounts. Depending on what you're mounting this to and how it works, you can use either one, and then hardware to bolt it down. And then I didn't open all of these yet, but in one of these boxes, because it's an 8-piece set, you have 9 boxes. One of these will have the controller in it. So once we get to that point of the install, I'll show you that. Alright, so to install this properly, we have to take the fender liner out, which is in here. It's just a bunch of those black clips around, depending what vehicle you drive. We're going to take it out because we actually want to drill the 2 bolts, which are on the little holes here. I'm just showing you an example with this piece. We aren't actually going to use it, but you want to set this up inside roughly where you want the lights to be. Make a little mark, either with a punch a hole, or a Sharpie marker or something. Just make a mark where you want to drill the holes. You want them a little bit further back behind the wheels, so when you're driving, all the dirt and gunk that kicks up from here isn't going directly onto your light. So put it a little further to the inside of your vehicle. You want 1 on each side, similar like that. We are putting only 2. If you're putting 3, I recommend putting them a little bit lower, and then you would have 1 up in the middle. But for now, we're going to go around, make our marks for each one, get the fender liners out, and then we'll carry on. Alright, so first fender is out. What we did, because you can't really see where you mark on this stuff, I put a little bit of painter's tape. Put your rubber piece that goes on up and just make 2 little marks where you want your holes to be drilled. Find a drill bit the size of your screw here, run the drill through there. You'll have to get a slightly bigger hole, similar to the ones where the clips to hold this fender liner on go, just to run the actual wire through. Then underneath here, all you'll have is your light. The wire will go up through, and everything will be tucked up underneath behind here, and it'll look nice once it's back on the vehicle. You can see they are a little bit off, not a straight line across from where they would line up with each other. That being, this is a little bit of a flat spot, easier to bolt it on there. Same with over here. This is indented. You got the circle here. So find a flat spot. They don't have to be perfect. Once this is under there, the light is bright enough to shine everywhere. You won't have to worry about that. Alright, so now once you got your holes drilled, you can see right smack dab in the middle of these 2 that we drilled is the bigger hole. Feed the wire through. You feed the rubber piece all the way down onto these. I put the bolts through just to hold it up tight together. You can see it comes out the middle on the back. So feed all your wire through, pop these in, and then to keep it tight, it comes with a little tiny bolt or nut and a little tiny washer that'll go on the top. They aren't lock nuts or anything like that, so throw a little bit of Loctite or some sort of glue or silicone or anything just to keep it snug on there, because obviously driving around you don't want it to be vibrating off, because then your light's going to be hanging down and the first thing it's going to catch on is the wheel. So you don't want to run these over. then tighten these down with something more than just a wrench. All right, so we got the first side done. You can see here they're tightened down. What I did is I put just a little bit of crazy glue on there just to stop those from coming back off. You can see the wiring for the front. What I've done so far is I've run it straight up, and basically your wires are up here because it will have to make it over to the battery where we put the controller eventually. So I think I might just run these around and follow back that way to the front. Then if you come to the back, you can see I already have this one back installed. Your lights are up there. Wiring for that, I just dropped out the side for now, kind of underneath, and we will end up running it along behind the step there most likely. But once we get to that point, I'll show you. But for now, we're gonna get the other side off, get the two in there, same as we did for this side, and then we can start wiring them up and give them a test. All right, so we have got the back all up in place, fender's back in, the wires are running down behind here. I'll show you that in a minute. But for now, we are going to end up using the extenders because you can see this is the one that's attached to the rock plate itself, and it'll make it to the front wheel, but not quite far enough. So we got the extender. There's two in a pack, so because we have two on each wheel, we'll use one pack for this side, one pack for the other side. One thing you got to make sure, that little rubber gasket's on there. Get it nice and tight together, and then on here, the extender part is this, and that's a little thread, which will thread onto that part right there. And then just for one extra added protection, once this is on and tightened, we're gonna throw some black tape around because it looks like that. It is nice and snug, but just throw tape around just for extra securement and peace of mind. And then all the extra slack here we'll tuck up front somewhere around the fender with the other lights there, and then we can start wiring up the actual receiver. All right, now under the vehicle, of course, this is going to be different regardless of what car you have, but relatively similar. So this is the Bronco. Basically it came out under the fender there. We're running it behind the step. On the driver's side, at least, you have this wire, so eventually I'll just zap strap that to the wire. Ran it all the way to the front and then up underneath the front fender as well. So as long as this is all tucked up, we'll get the slack and stuff out of there after as I zap strap it. Just find something like this, strap it all along. Same with the other side. You can hook it up, strap it all along, go up over the car, and then we can hide all the extra wire and the receiver and everything under the hood. So when you're looking at this thing from inside or outside, it will look like stock. All right, so now that we got them all wired through, they're ran under the Bronco, you bring it to the front, you get your little receiver thing here. On the end, you get this one wire, got your positive, negative. This little wire is for your Bluetooth control. And then this comes out, you got 8 little ends on there. Hook up each one of those cables into that. Doesn't matter which one, as long as they're all plugged into one. And then we can find a place to stash all this, hook it up to the battery, and then you should be good to go. All right, so don't mind the big jumbled mess of wires. That will be dealt with after. I just want to show you guys how it's wired up. I ended up just getting a little clip for the end here. If I can get this open. We just put the positive to the positive here, negative to the negative right here. This little box now, you scan that QR code right here and that'll give you the app to control this thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put a little double-sided tape, and I'm actually gonna stick this right to the fuse box here. Then it's easy to see, easy to mess around with if you need to mess around with it. And then as for the wires, we're just gonna feed them through, get a bunch of zap straps, tighten them all up, make it look nice, strap it up similar to the ditch lights we added here. Just tuck them up out of the way, make it look good so it's not obviously laying over on top of your engine bay. And then as for under the hood, that part is all done. All right, we got them on. You can see it is glowing. We'll go out when it's dark to see that better. Just a little side note, when we first hooked it up, the rear set for some reason was just staying white. It wasn't changing colors. What you want to do is find those 2 wires on these connections and just pull it apart, plug it back together. I don't know if it just didn't quite set properly, but that fixed the problem. Also, when you're putting this together, you can see maybe in the camera here and here, they got the same design on each side. That side's got the arrow, this side has a little kind of checkered blob there. Just make sure on each connection those are the same, and that lines up for your colors. Also, if you have the extension, make sure you check under there. If those don't work, check the extension part, because same idea for that. If it's the wrong way or not quite together properly, you will get the light powered up, but it will not actually change color. Okay, here we are in the dark. It's all installed. You can see everything works. Like I mentioned earlier, if one of these things ends up just solid white, you have the wires plugged in wrong, just unplug them and rewire it together, and you should be able to end up with everything the same, all four wheels. And then to change everything, you download the app. There's a little code on the box under the hood. Scan the QR code, download the app. Right now we have it just in solid color mode. You can see as you go around, it'll change the color wherever you go. Green, yellow, orange, red, pink. Get a closer look. You can see the lights under there. Everything will just change depending how you go with the app. In here, it gives you different modes. I'm not going to go over everything, but you can see flash, it'll flash all different colors. Purple, go yellow, and then basically there's just a whole bunch of different ones you can do in here. Go back and forth between green and red. You can pick the speed you want it to go. You can pick the brightness. Of course, this is just your different customs colors. If you want, you can create your own, and it'll just keep on going. And there's thousands of different options you can do, so we're not going to go over it all in the video. But you can see, hopefully this picks up in the camera how bright this is. It is only 2 under each wheel. If you do a third, I think it would be a little bit too much. You might go blind looking at this thing. But for now, that is it.